Be sure to check out my second channel called Rob Explains. There you can check out videos where I explain things outside of comic books. So as we get back into the pattern of DC Rebirth, what I want to do here is have a discussion on Nightwing. And what I'm hoping is that at the end of all this, you'll walk away with a better understanding of Dick Grayson, as well as what DC Rebirth means for his character regarding the foreseeable future. And so much like the rest of DC's Rebirth line of comics, Nightwing gives us a return to the pre-New 52 era of his character while combining it with popular elements from the New 52. To sidetrack here, when DC initiated the line-wide reboot of their various characters, teams, and universes, Dick Grayson stood as one of a handful of characters being watched closely by comic fans. The reason for this was that whether it was due to these fans having grown up with his character, or because they were newcomers who found the Nightwing concept intriguing, the fact remains that many wanted to see a continuation of existing concepts prior to the start of the New 52. What I mean here is that if we reference my video on Dick Grayson Explained, which you'll find in the description, his character was originally introduced in 1940 as the sidekick of Batman in order to draw sales, where this was largely successful in that young readers loved having a reflection of themselves in comics following this 45-year-long stint. In 1985, going into Crisis on Infinite Earths, and after having served as part of the wildly popular Teen Titans, DC looked to break Dick Grayson away from the role of Robin operating alongside Batman, allowing the position of Robin itself to be filled with a new creation and Dick Grayson to come into his own. To this end, and under the writing of Marv Wolfman, Dick Grayson was remolded into Nightwing, having taken the name from a hero operating within the bottled Kryptonian city of Kandor. As a result, and in the post-crisis continuity, Dick Grayson found a special place in the hearts and minds of comic fans, and that while he did operate with the Teen Titans themselves, he also had his own rogues gallery and city to protect in the form of Bloodhaven, and even operated as Batman following the events of Nightfall and Final Crisis, all while maintaining a position as one of DC's top-tier heroes. However, with the launch of New 52, Dick Grayson's traditional history of being part of Haley's circus as a family act and witnessing his parents' death was modified to reflect Scott Snyder's vision of Batman, which established that Haley's circus was designed as a front for the Court of Owls, a secretive organization operating out of Gotham without Batman's knowledge, and using Haley's circus to monitor and recruit children who would become a Talon for the court following the child's growth into adulthood and eventual death. Using this as a jumping-off platform, with Snyder's Batman run moving incredibly fast, Dick Grayson fell alongside the other members of the Bat family regarding Bruce's ordeal with the Court of Owls, the return of the Joker, and the Joker's subsequent discovery of the Bat family's identities, where writer Kyle Higgins kept most of the publications in line with Snyder's Batman as tie-ins. On the whole, the stories of Nightwing under the direction of Higgins were hugely popular, and where the stories didn't sell as high as Batman himself, it maintained a respectable average of about 45,000 copies sold each month. On the other hand, with Kyle Higgins departing with virtually no information on why, if the rumor mill is to be believed, the creative direction of DC going into the post-Forever Evil line of stories differed from Higgins' vision, leading to his removal as writer to be replaced by Tim Seeley. Covered in a 2014 interview with Comics Alliance, Tim Seeley had stated that prior to coming on board, DC had already made the decision to move Dick Grayson away from being Nightwing, intending to cancel the line and replace it with Grayson, which focused on spy-related content. Now, where Seeley's information revealed that the idea wasn't fully fleshed out when it was originally pitched, with the first several issues, the story was extremely popular. Coming out of Forever Evil, which saw Dick Grayson's identity revealed to the world during an invasion of Earth by the Crime Syndicate, an evil version of the Justice League from Earth 3, after being connected to a device called the Murder Machine designed to kill the individual trapped inside, as well as those around them, Lex Luthor had intervened, stopping Dick Grayson's heart in order to trick the machine into believing that Grayson was dead, allowing Luthor to rescue him and engineer his escape alongside Batman, Catwoman, and Cyborg. Using this to transition into Grayson, with the world believing him dead, Dick was shown as having given up the life of crime fighting and instead focused his efforts on operating as a mole for Batman within Spiral, an organization ran by Helena Bertinelli, a New 52 reimagining of the Huntress who was viewed as the most wanted woman in the world and heir to the Sicilian mob. Where this story was critically acclaimed by fans due to Seeley focusing on both Grayson's life as a spy as well as attempting to keep the world from becoming aware of his existence, the lead-up to Rebirth came during the events of Batman and Robin Eternal, a 2-in-1 style of storytelling which focused on the past and the present. Where the past dealt with Batman and Robin facing Scarecrow for the first time, the present events operated as a counterpart to Batman Endgame, focusing on Dick Grayson alongside the rest of the Bat family facing off against a villain named Mother, who looked to initiate a worldwide collapse of the industrial, financial, and social sectors, believing that the remnants of humanity would create something better. At the conclusion of the event and due to their defeat by Batman, the Court of Owls came to believe that in order to defeat Batman himself and guarantee their control over Gotham, the group needed to recruit Dick Grayson. To this end, and with DC Rebirth being initiated under the direction of Jeff Johns, the long game for Dick Grayson's writing came to a head with the introduction of the Parliament of Owls, a long suspected but never confirmed center for the various Court of Owl factions around the world. With Tim Seeley returning as writer, much like the rest of DC's Rebirth titles, Nightwing Rebirth #1 provides us with an expectation of his character going forward. Picking up with Dick Grayson at an arcade, we also learn that he's spending time with Damian. Now to sidetrack for a second, where Dick Grayson's character was being fleshed out in the New 52 by Tim Seeley, writer Patrick Gleason was fleshing out the character of Damian Wayne. Taking place in the 13-issue limited run Robin, Son of Batman, the work of Patrick Gleason took place after the disappearance of Bruce Wayne at the end of Batman Endgame and followed Damian himself as he looked to form his own legacy outside of simply being Robin. Tying into the events of DCU's Robin War, which saw Damian, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake forming a gang called the Robins, where the group's purpose was to take down the Court of Owls permanently in Batman's absence. Because the ongoing goal of the court was to recruit Dick Grayson, Robin War led into Nightwing Rebirth by revealing that the court had planted explosives in the mind of Damian. Now, where this did not appear to be something anyone outside of the court was aware of, what Tim Seeley tells us is that Dick Grayson had actually known for quite some time. With Damian questioning Dick about his time fighting alongside both the Huntress and Midnighter, what we learn is that because Helena Bertinelli was returning to her position as Huntress to fight alongside Batgirl in Birds of Prey, and Midnighter was more akin to a vigilante than a traditional hero, the life of engaging in lies, duplicity, and manipulation goes against the moral compass Dick Grayson had formed, both during his time as Robin, as well as his time under the Nightwing moniker. However, while fighting Midnighter prior to his departure, Grayson was provided with a device that would allow him to safely extract the explosive from the mind of Damian without fear of killing him, after which the two were greeted by the arrival of Batman. Now, where Dick Grayson's initial response is that the court's attempt to procure him put Damian in danger, something to point out here is the subtle line that exists between the two. Within the Bat family, while each member has faced their own struggles, and the Batgirl was paralyzed by the Joker, Jason Todd was killed by the Joker, Dick Grayson lost his family, and Tim Drake struggled to keep Batman in check following the death of Jason Todd. Because Damian is the biological son of Bruce Wayne, he holds a special place among the ranks of the Bat family. As a result, and in the minds of Dick, the loss of Damian would be far more substantial than if any of the other members were to perish, a claim that's supported by Batman's reaction to Damian's first death during the events of Batman Incorporated. However, this issue is effectively quelled when Batman informs Dick Grayson that he saved Damian's life, and that the blame for Damian having a bomb placed in his mind doesn't reside with Dick Grayson and instead resides with Lincoln March. Now to sidetrack for a second, during the initial launch of the New 52, writer Scott Snyder had begun sowing the seeds of future characters in Batman stories by reintroducing or retconning a myriad of individuals. With Lincoln March standing among them, under Snyder, he was established as having been the possible brother of Bruce Wayne, a claim that was never officially verified. Now, whether or not this was something Snyder intended to reveal is a question I don't have the answer to, but with Batman Eternal operating as a companion to Snyder's run, the story saw Lincoln March return by gathering villains like Hush and Cluemaster for the purpose of taking out Bruce Wayne. While the endeavors of Lincoln ultimately failed because of his rashness, the Court of Owls had him secured for the purpose of turning him into a Talon at some point in time. Now, to be honest, I'm not actually as current as I should be in Batman comics, so I can't give you a reason for his return to the landscape. But after petitioning the Parliament of Owls to cast aside their white masks in favor of a black mask, he's immediately shot in the eye by Raptor, a newly introduced character as part of Nightwing Rebirth who operates as a freelance assassin working for the Parliament of Owls. And so with the comic winding down and coming to an end, after transitioning back to the Batcave, we find that where Bruce urges Dick Grayson to take some time for himself following his retirement from the spy game, instead, Dick Grayson vows to help anyone who will need it, operating under the moniker of Nightwing. With that being said, we're going to bring this video to an end, and if you guys have read Nightwing Rebirth, let me know what you all think. I'm actually kind of curious, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.